Hello, Squirrel Tribe. Listen, this will be short and sweet and to the point. And the point being that this election seems to be very emotional for a lot of people. Instead of people looking at policies, looking at past, records between Donald Trump, between Kamala Harris, between Tim Walz, between J.D. Vance, looking at things they have accomplished in the past, looking at what they say they want to accomplish in the next 4 years, people are going based off of emotion. And the reason I bring this up is I have a Facebook account, a personal one, right? So I can post pictures of the family for our other family to see who aren't near where we are here in Florida. And I got on Facebook today, and a friend of a friend who we are now Facebook friends with made a post. And it kind of, I don't want to say triggered me to make this video, but it started the conversation. And we've talked about it before, how people aren't looking at the facts and they're just looking at what they're being told by mainstream media. And I've told you guys plenty of times that I used to be that person. I was that person 2016, 2019, up into 2020, who went with what was being shown on TV, what mainstream media was telling me. And I was very much a Trump basher at that time because I was believing everything that was told to me by mainstream media. And I wasn't really trying to learn if it was right or if it was wrong. I wasn't trying to figure out if anything else was going on that I wasn't being shown. I was living in my own little bubble because my bubble was perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong in my bubble, so there's no reason for me to jump out of my bubble. Then 2020 hit, then Joe Biden and Kamala Harris got in office and the bubble burst for a lot of people. And I started paying way more attention to who these politicians and businessmen actually are, what they are for, what they've actually said versus what mainstream media takes a little snippet of and gives me to think they said. And my opinions on everything have changed drastically in the last 4 years. I am a 180-degree difference than I was 4 years ago because of my willingness and ability to open my eyes and ears and learn things for myself instead of being spoon-fed whatever mainstream media wants me to believe. And it's unfortunate that right now there seems to be so many people who would rather be spoon-fed than figure things out for themselves. And some of these people are bright, very smart individuals, people that you would generally look up to. And then you start talking politics and you're like, ooh, hold on, now wait a second. This seems a little wrong right now. So let me just gonna give you a little backstory on what happened here on Facebook. So a friend of a friend made this post, and she happens to be a immigrant. Her family immigrated to the United States from a different country, right? And her post, she's got a video here of Donald Trump speaking, and it's a post or a video by MSNBC. So already grain of salt, right? Grain of salt. And the title of the video is Trump Vance Spread Anti-Migrant Hate at Campaign Stops. And they have a 5-second little audio clip or video clip of Donald Trump saying where a lot of people are coming from, these immigrants that are coming here. And he mentions, he mentions Congo, he mentions Africa, he mentions the Middle East, he mentions Asia. And he just says, he says about Springfield, he said, it is about, let me see if I can get it's about his plan for all of America. They are coming from Congo, Africa, the Middle East, Asia. A lot of them are coming from Asia. And what's happening to our country is we are just destroying the fabric of life in our country. And that's where it stops. Destroying the fabric of life in our country. And that's it. So anybody who was already left-leaning is going to see that and think that this is an extremely racist thing, that he's talking about people of color and how they're coming here to white America and destroying it. That's exactly what has happened here and what triggered this person to make this post on Facebook with the video and their comment. Their comment being, the level of hate and racism associated with this election has physically taken a toll. Watching loved ones support behaviors like this and try to justify, it's so hard to handle, and I'm clearly too soft. This isn't a difference in politics. This is personal. And because I love my immigrant family, if you support this, well, shake my head. And so me trying to be, as nice and calm about things as possible, I made a response, right? And I'm going to just tell you guys what my response was. And I said, devil's advocate, whatever. I believe he is speaking on illegal immigrants, not people who take legal passive citizenship. I've noticed a lot of clips that make it seem one way, but when watching slash listening to the entire speech, it seems another. Another way, same goes for Joe and Kamala and Tim, too, tidbits that are used to give a certain impression versus whole scenarios. I watch both sides since whoever wins affects myself and my family. I think many people are upset on both sides with the amount of resources devoted to illegal immigrants versus those resources going to help legal immigrants and citizens. I said, this is definitely an emotional election for many. And, she came back with some stuff and I was just like, okay, there's some people, unfortunately, that you just can't talk to. And what's awful is she works in a place of government. She works in a courthouse. Okay. So she understands the legality and non-legality of illegal immigration. And as somebody whose family came here and did things the right way as legal immigrants, you would think that she would be so upset about what's going on. But she made a comment about the Haitians in Ohio, not to mention the ones in Alabama. I have a whole video about that later, but this is just something I wanted to talk to you guys like without everything else. She made a comment. She goes, he's talking about illegal immigrants, but the Haitians are here legally. Okay, that may be the case, but they're here legally because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris made this whole thing where they were going to bring in workers from outside of our own country legally on a work visa for like 2 years. And after that, nobody's paying attention to them. She's not upset about the fact that they're being brought in to take over jobs from other people who came here legally or who are already here because they're citizens. She's upset at the fact that she says Donald Trump made it seem like these Haitians are illegal immigrants. That's not the point behind it all. And that's the problem. That is the problem. A lot of people are getting hung up on this point and not realizing everything else that goes around it. Well, they're not illegal immigrants. Biden brought them in. Okay, fact of the matter is, it is a third world country, massive group of people who are being brought in and being plunked down in red states. They're not sending them to the blue states that voted for all of this stuff. They're plunking them down in red states and red cities, red counties who want nothing to do with this because they have their own issues, their own things they're dealing with. They don't have the resources for all the legal or illegal, however y'all want to phrase it, migrants, immigrants, aliens, whatever, that the Biden-Harris administration are bringing in. But the problem is this person is looking at this from an emotional standpoint. They're looking at it that Donald Trump hates immigrants. And that's not the case. Donald Trump has said numerous times that the legal path is fine. Doing things legally is what matters. I have an issue with illegal immigrants because if you're going to be here, you need to do it legally. I'm expected to follow our laws as well as you, and so should people who want to come live here. They should follow our laws as well. And so for people like this who get so upset about a snippet that MSNBC puts up instead of listening to the entire thing, and they're going to base their vote off of that. That's why our country is in this, hell in a handbasket shit show that we're in right now. A lot of people vote based off emotion versus based off of fact, based off of policies, based off of what they can prove has worked and has not worked, what they actually want for their families in the future, what happened to the economy, what's going on with everything. And I think we have to really take into consideration how many people are going to be able to vote, whether it is legally or illegally, because that's happening as well, based off of that emotion. How many illegal immigrants are going to base their vote, because a lot of them are going to be able to vote thanks to people like Tim Walz and states like Minnesota and California who are giving driver's licenses to illegal immigrants. How many of them are going to vote for the same people who brought them in? Because emotionally, they thank them for letting them in, letting them through this open border, flying them in from these countries, whatever else. But the whole thing is, here I am trying to talk about the issues and the policies and everything that's going on. And there are people out there who will never hear it because their emotions are clouding absolutely everything. They can't see anything outside of their emotions. Like I said, this woman, she is a brilliant woman. She has her own business. She's beautiful. She's got her own family. There's nothing wrong with her. And then it comes to this and I'm like, oh, boo-boo, no, you should know better. As a family who came here legally, how does it not upset you that billions of dollars are being spent on illegal immigrants that could have helped your family? Instead, your family paid their dues, did everything they had to do to get here legally. And you're not upset with the fact that this current administration basically said F you to everything your family went through and are just letting anybody over here and giving them absolutely everything. I don't understand that form or that way of thinking. That part doesn't make sense to me. And I'm sure they're looking at me going, ma'am, the way you think doesn't make sense to me. And it's a very weird place to be when you can look at the person standing next to you or across from you, even your family member, whether it's a stranger, family, whatever, and not be able to get to the intelligent part of their brain to explain to them why the way they vote matters more than the way they feel. I hope that makes sense the way it came out. I hope that makes sense. I'm a very emotional person. Y'all know this. If you've ever been on SquirrelTribe before, I generally will fly off on something because I'm a very emotional person. But even with emotions aside, I am looking at both sides of this. Like I said, I was full on, I guess you would call it a Democrat. I never put a label to it, but I was full on left, I guess. And now I consider myself more full on right. I don't even consider myself down the middle anymore. Although I agree with some of both sides. I agree way more with what's happening over here. I agree way more with the conservative side. And it's crazy to me that there are people out there who refuse to open their eyes and look at both sides, who refuse to listen to both sides to really make an informed decision. Because watching only CNN and MSNBC, you're never going to know. Watching only Fox, you're never going to know. You have to be willing and able to look at absolutely everything. I watch other channels on YouTube every once in a while that I literally cannot stand, that are left channels, just to figure out what they're talking about, what they're saying, what they're trying to convince their base is true versus not true, whether it's about Kamala Harris and Tim Walz or about Donald Trump and JD Vance. It helps to know everything. I try to look at things from everybody's point of view. But when your point of view seems like it's all the way up your ass, it's kind of hard for me to really see it and understand it. You know what I mean? And so for this little small exchange on Facebook, it is crazy to me. And the comments that went with it are all brilliant women that are in high paying jobs, that are nurses, that work in government, that work in courthouses, that work in all these places. And I'm like, but how did you get here? And not understand that everything that the left side is doing right now is contradictory to what you as women, right, stand for. I felt like Kamala Harris right there. Ooh, gosh, that whole, with the thing. It's contradictory to what you as women stand for, you as mothers, you as wives, you as family members stand for. It's crazy to me. I have yet to understand how somebody can call themselves a Democrat and a Christian at the same time, because I don't think that gender mutilation and abortion and stuff like that really, speaks to what the Bible is about. I could be wrong. I could have missed a page or two in there. There's something in there I didn't see, but I feel like it's very hard to be a Democrat that wants to vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and also go to church on Sunday and praise Jesus. I don't see how those two things could ever possibly go hand in hand, because they're so incredibly contradictory to me. Anyway, listen, this was just a small discussion I wanted to have. I have actual factual news and stuff coming for you later. But right now, are you guys in that same situation where you have people that they're brilliant, they're smart, they make good decisions, that whatever, and they are emotionally attached to how they're going to vote, whether it's for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. I don't think people should emotionally vote for Donald Trump. I think they should vote for him because of his policies, because what he did as a president and what he has planned to do as president 47, right? The 47th president for the next 4 years, versus, what Kamala Harris did as vice president and what she says she's going to do for the next 4 years, which she still hasn't said anything. Very interesting. Nothing's really come out of her mouth. But to vote emotionally for either of them is detrimental at the end of the day, in my opinion. So that's that. Again, thank you for having this conversation. Look at my dog. Y'all, look at this golden doodle. Golden doodle. I can't speak. Oh, you heard Max? Hello, Maxie Poo. Yeah, he looks like a pretzel. Anyway, SquirrelTribe, I love y'all immensely. I will be back later with actual news style stuff. But this was just, I had to have this conversation with y'all. So thank you. Okay, love you. Bye.